Every day, tons of gold, diamonds, cobalt, uranium, oil leave our land. But how? Here is the system. Step 1, create corruption. Bribe our leaders. Open offshore accounts. Promise them a life of luxury. Send their children to your schools. Step 2, make deals. Get 50-year, 99-year concessions. Ask for tax exemptions. Be exempt from environmental rules. Ignore.
In the heart of Ouagadougou, President Ibrahim Traoré was reviewing documents for the Dignity Through Self-Reliance program. This initiative had become a symbol of Burkina Faso's resistance against external dependence and had sparked a movement across Africa. The program was inspiring neighboring countries to adopt similar approaches for sustainable development. As Traoré sat in his office, his assistant Marie entered with urgent news. "Mr. President," she said, "Senator JD Vance made a statement about you during a live interview." Traoré looked up, intrigued. "What did he say?" he asked. Marie hesitated and then relayed the words. Vance called his policies naive, stating that Africa needed U.S. aid to survive and that Traoré was playing leader while his people suffered. Traoré frowned but remained calm. He knew that such criticism was inevitable when challenging the global status quo. The next day, Traoré held a press conference in response to the remark. The room was packed with local and international journalists, eager to hear his reply. Standing before them in traditional Burkinabe clothing, a clear symbol of his deep cultural roots, Traoré addressed the room with quiet confidence. "Yesterday, Senator JD Vance made comments about our national policies," he began. "He suggested we need U.S. aid to survive. I want to make something very clear. Burkina Faso does not need charity. We just need respect." The room fell silent as the weight of his words settled in. "Our people have faced challenges for centuries, but we have always found ways to move forward. We are building our future on our own strength, dignity, and determination, not on outside help." He then introduced a new initiative, Africa is Not Charity, aimed at empowering local communities to create their own solutions to challenges without relying on foreign intervention. The initiative, he emphasized, wasn't just about politics, but proving to the world that Africa doesn't need to be saved. It needs to be respected. The room erupted in applause, especially from local journalists, though some international reporters seemed skeptical. A French journalist asked, "How does Burkina Faso plan to implement these initiatives without external resources? Isn't it too risky?" Traoré smiled and replied, "Everything we do involves risk, but the greatest risk would be accepting help that compromises our dignity. We are betting on the potential of our people, and I know they will not disappoint us." His words sparked intense debate on social media, with hashtags like Respect for Africa and Leadership with Dignity trending. People began to recognize the significance of local, people-centered policies, with many applauding Burkina Faso's bold stand on sovereignty and self-reliance. Behind the scenes, Traoré's team worked tirelessly to implement the Africa is Not Charity program. The Ministry of Agriculture organized meetings with community leaders to identify areas in need, while Marie coordinated efforts to provide families with essential resources such as water and electricity. During a team meeting, Traoré expressed his optimism. "We're just getting started, but we already see the first signs of change. This change is not just economic, it is social, cultural, and most importantly, human." As Traoré's speech continued to reverberate across social media, U.S. Senator JD Vance watched with growing discomfort. His earlier comments about Burkina Faso's policies were now being widely criticized. His assistant informed him, "The media is heavily reporting your criticisms, and there's a growing narrative against you. Many are calling your statements condescending and disconnected from reality." Vance, visibly uneasy, read the headline. "Traoré proves Africa doesn't need charity, but partnerships based on respect. And Traoré's leadership challenges Western paternalism." The next day, Vance appeared on live television again, asked whether he still considered Traoré's policies naive in light of the recent successes. Vance hesitated and responded, "I admit that I may have been too critical initially, but I still believe outside help can be useful, as long as it's applied correctly." His more conciliatory response ignited further debate, with some praising his willingness to reassess his position, while others criticized his paternalistic stance. Meanwhile, in Burkina Faso, Traoré continued to focus on transforming the country's future, undeterred by external criticism. During a visit to a rural village, he met Awa, a woman who had benefited from the country's land reform program. She had gone from struggling to feed her children to now teaching carpentry to other women in the area. "I could barely feed my children before," Awa said during a local broadcast. "Now I'm helping other women build a better future. It's all thanks to President Traoré." Her story became widely publicized on social media, further cementing Traoré's image as a visionary leader. The hashtags Respect for Africa and Leadership with Dignity continued to gain traction. Traoré's team expanded the program's reach, with the Ministry of Agriculture partnering with local universities to provide technical training for farmers. Marie worked on distributing resources to ensure that more families had access to basic needs, like clean water and reliable electricity. We're just getting started, Traoré reiterated to his team, but we can already see the change, and it's not just economic, it's social, cultural, and human. A journalist wrote in his notebook, "Today in Burkina Faso, I saw the future of an Africa that values its history, honors its heroes, and builds bridges of dignity for all." The momentum continued to build as Burkina Faso's Africa is Not Charity initiative began to deliver tangible results. As the world watched, Traoré's story became a beacon for a new era of leadership, one that valued self-reliance, dignity, and the capacity to create change from within. His leadership wasn't just a political triumph. It was a reminder that true power lies in empowering others to take control of their future. And as Burkina Faso continued its transformation, the world began to listen more closely to the voices of those who had once been ignored.